Kia ora, hello. It is Friday the 28th of February. I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at the forecast as we go into the weekend, the first weekend of March and the first week of March. And we've got high pressure still in control of the country. To the north, Severe is now an ex-tropical cyclone, and we've got Severe Tropical Cyclone Alfred, which is still over the Coral Sea. In fact, last night it was Category 4, it's dropped back a little bit back to Category 3 again, which is still severe. And this cyclone is likely to linger for at least another week. We're going to have more details about that in our Alfred video, which is out today as well. But we're keeping an eye on it in New Zealand because even though we've got these big blocks of high pressure, the high pressure zones, as we would expect going into March, are starting to break up a little bit more now that summer's coming to an end. And so we're going to see more chances of Southern Ocean weather trying to come up the country, but also low pressure in the tropics always wants to pull southwards. It's kind of a natural thing for it to do. While the high pressure is here, that can't happen. But as we start to see some breaks in the high pressure over the next week, that could alter the course of the tropical low pressure up there to the north. Not necessarily saying we're going to get a cyclone, but saying that the cyclone there at the moment, Alfred, and the leftovers of Severe, they may still end up dropping rain towards us. It's not locked in, but it's possible. If you watch our Alfred video today, we talk about this being like a pinball machine at the moment, and the high pressure systems down here are kind of like the levers at the bottom, bouncing the ball back up again. So high pressure is in charge as we go into the weekend. We do have some showers that could form around Waikato Bay of Plenty area in particular, sort of moved around over the last couple of days where we were forecasting it for this weekend. Keep an eye on the radar because sea breezes are going to move those showers around. At the other end, we've got a cold front, or at least a little band of rain. It's not really a cold front, just a little burst of rain coming through there for Fiordland for the most part, but may also clip Stewart Island. On Sunday, that system is still there, caught up on the west coast. The further north you go into the more populated areas, the drier it becomes. Certainly dry around the North Island with high pressure in control. But we do have a large low to the south of the country. That's helping to fuel more energy down there. And while we've got high pressure over the Tasman Sea, next high here is south of Adelaide, there's a little bit of a weakness in between those two systems, and low pressure likes to exploit that. So we're going to be watching closely what happens as we start off next week, because you've got high pressure moving eastwards away from us and another high pressure system out over towards Tasmania moving in. We do have a little bit of wet weather trapped in between, but it's really what is forming between those two systems that's of more interest. So yes, a little bit of wet weather around on Monday in the form of showers for Southland and Otago, perhaps a little bit of patchy rain on the west coast, and an isolated couple of showers for the western North Island. It won't be much for you on Monday. But here's what happens on Tuesday. As high pressure departs out to the east of the country, and the next high is still out over Tasmania, this leaves a vulnerable area for low pressure to form. It's not a storm, but it just allows for some rain to fall in places where many of you might want it to be falling. So it's messy. Got a bit of low pressure on the west coast, a little bit of low pressure off the coast of Canterbury. It's in a bit of instability. Daytime heating could make some heavier falls as well. So a few moving parts to that. North Island is not so exposed to it on Tuesday now, but it does look as though by Wednesday you'll get some. And like I said yesterday, as the high comes in, it kind of pushes it eastwards. But this is trapped between these two high pressure zones. Low pressure from about the Chatham Islands all the way over to the North Island. Now I've got to stress, this could still change in the next couple of days. Why is that? Well, first of all, this is pretty messy, the low pressure zone over the country. But these two highs, the one that's just south of the South Island and the other one that's east of the Chatham Islands, they're quite close. And it doesn't take much for them to join up. Have you ever seen, two water drips going down a window? When they touch, they kind of get bigger and speed up. Sometimes that can happen. High pressure can join forces. It can make it move suddenly, or it can stall it. So we still have to wait a little bit longer. Your local forecast will probably be the best way to make sense of it. They are going to chop and change a little bit over the next week as to how much rain you'll get and maybe what day it will fall, because it is a bit of an unsettled setup next week, and that doesn't necessarily guarantee a lot of rain. It just might be cloudy with the risk of showers. Some of you might get some relief, others may not, and the western side of the country doesn't look like it will get as much as the eastern side does. So a bit of a messy week next week with that low pressure zone around. Looks like it hangs through till the end of the week, but as I say, all it takes is the high near Tasmania and the high out to our east to link up a little quicker, and that rain falls apart. Likewise, if they break apart a little further, there's a better chance for rain. So fingers crossed if you need rain. By the way, last map, you can see up here, Cyclone Alfred still pretty much in the same spot. And as this big high pressure zone comes in, once again, keeps the storm up there to the north. I noticed that the Australian Bureau of Meteorology are also in the same camp trying to figure out what is going on, because if it moves a little closer to Australia, there's a massive rain event, stays offshore. These places are going to stay dry over there as well. Drought is expanding across Australia at the moment. So that is all from me. We do have our Climate Watch update out today. It isn't going to be as good as perhaps other months because of the cyclone. This is making it very hard for us to work out what's going on, because you look at a rain map and in comes the cyclone on top of it and it can break it. So we'll do our best to break down what is likely to go through for the month ahead. So our March Climate Watch update is out today, but like I say, it's going to be influenced heavily by potentially Tropical Cyclone Alfred and what it might do around the Tasman area. That's all from me. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again next week.